Stop chasing. Look, y'all get on in here, man. Let's get to it. All right, we got a lot of profitable setups to look at for the week. I'm going to go over 3 that I think are going to pan out pretty well. I'm going to talk about where the market is, going into this week, what my sentiments are, what some things that we may run into may be. All right, we're going to cover all of that stuff in this video. All right, the first thing I need y'all to do is just let me know where you're chiming in from. All right, drop it in the chat. And y'all already know what you got to do after that. Doop, hit that like button. All right, let's get it. Let's get it. Who we got up in here? Who we got up in here? Who we got up in here? Y'all climb on in. Let me know where you're chiming in from. All right, I know a lot of y'all might be a little sleepy. I know we lost an hour today. All right, I know we lost an hour. I know we sprung forward. Houston in the building. Liz, how you feeling? Tiffy, how you doing? Good to see y'all. How y'all feeling on this Sunday? Y'all ready for the week? How y'all feeling? Wise in the building. Hey, listen, you gotta stop chasing. That's first and foremost. How you feeling over there? Kelton, what up, man? Seattle in the building. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. I'm gonna give this a little bit more time for some people to get in here. We got a lot to cover today. 3 stocks I think are going to do well. I'm going to show you just like, the analysis, the if then, the what if statements, all of that stuff about how this thing can go and what I'm thinking, is kind of like the energy of the market this week. All right, Darrell, what up, man? How you feeling? He said, what brand of chlorophyll do I use? I just use the Sprouts chlorophyll. Yeah, I get it from Sprouts. Sprouts is one of those grocery stores where their brand stuff is very high quality. Sometimes like we don't like the store brand stuff, but Sprouts, like they, I get a lot of spring water from it. I mean, I'm drinking Evian right now, but I normally get spring water from Sprouts. I drink their coconut water. They even have like just certain like beans and stuff like that. That's their brand. That's solid. So they got a lot of solid stuff. Billy, what's going on, man? He said, feeling magnificent. That's what I like to hear. Where are you based at, Liz? Y'all get on there. Man, these numbers are a little low today. I think a lot of people are. Like enjoying their Sunday right now. You see, we don't have us. Yeah. Sprouts is one of my favorite grocery stores. But yeah, y'all, it's gonna be an interesting week, to say the least. I'm spilling. Oh, this thing. How that got like that? But yeah. Michigan. Okay. Do y'all have? Damn, this all on my sweatshirt. Do y'all have like a? I guess like the equivalent would be maybe like a Whole Foods or like a Mom's or something like that. But yeah, if not, then you can always go with like it really doesn't matter too much, right? I would just whenever you see the brand, just like look up the reviews to see what people are saying about it. That's gonna give you some some insight to like how good it actually is. Yeah, that's what I would do. All right, again, as y'all are coming in here, hit that like button. Hype this video up. Let's get it out so that so that everybody can see what we got going on. All right. Yeah, but no, that's good that you think about getting chlorophyll. It's a really good thing. It's like the natural deodorizer of the body. So you'll notice that like it'll clean you out in a lot of ways. Certain parts won't be as potent. You know what I mean? Like if you once you continue to use it. Like I found that I don't have to use like deodorant like that. Like I barely wear deodorant. You know what I mean? Like and if I do wear deodorant, it's like like a natural deodorant. You from Rhode Island? Okay, nice. I hear Rhode Island is like known that area is known for like their like seafood, like lobster and stuff like that. Pamela, how you feeling over there, Pamela? Good to see you. Um, so yeah, so let's get into it, y'all. Again, people will continue to climb in as they do, but we're gonna jump into it. So, the three stocks that I want to talk about today are Google, Palantir, and MU. Okay, Google, Palantir, and MU are what I'm seeing the best possibilities. Excuse me, the best possibilities for this week on. All right, I'm seeing Google, to the upside. It also has the potential to go to the downside, which I'll talk about in a second. MU is setting up really nicely, and Palantir is as well. All right. Again, y'all climb on in here, and again, as you come in, just hit that like button for me one time. All right, Doop. That's it. All right. Learn to love your story. How you feeling? Is I'm trying to look closely. Is that I'm trying to? It looked like a similar photo that I've seen, but I love the name though. Zay, what up? How you feeling, bro? All right. So again, yeah, Google, Palantir, and MU. All right. So we're gonna jump right into it. We're gonna jump right into it. All right. Well, let me ask, how's your weekend been so far? How's your weekend been so far? I'm over here spilling water on myself. Mine has been chill. I just been I've been so I'm doing like the High Rocks Miami in like a little bit less than a month. So I've been having to kick up the intensity of the workouts a little bit more, running a little bit more. So I had a longer run earlier today. So that was pretty chill. You know what I'm saying? It was pretty chill. It was a nice temperature out. So got a nice little. Okay, yeah, okay. That's what I figured. I thought I was like, that looks like Dr. Natalie in that in the profile pic, but these pictures are so small, it's very hard for me to tell. But that was what I was thinking. Okay, how you doing, Dr. Natalie? How you feeling? Samuel, what's going on, brother? How you feeling? There we go, Kelton. There we go. He said, yeah, productive. Yeah, yeah, man. So this is I've never done like I've run a marathon before. So that was very intense. That's probably been one of the most strenuous like competitions that I've done. Done everything below that as well. But I've never done anything like in the CrossFit space. So this High Rocks thing is gonna be interesting because it's working out in a different way than I'm accustomed to. Like it's like it's constant running like in between each exercise. So you wind up running like I think you wind up running like 6 miles or something like that, or something a little less than that. But you're doing like a kilometer in between every every exercise. So it just kind of like you know it makes it a little interesting. So I've been and then like some of the movements are different than what you normally do in the gym. So it's gonna be interesting. But I usually will rise to the occasion. Like even when the training doesn't go that well, I always figure it out. So most of the ice melted, so it's a great day. There we go. Oh, that ice finally melted. On it, did y'all get another like major snowstorm? Because like the last time I was there, it was still ice on the ground, and it hadn't snowed in a while. Phoenix, how you feeling? Good to see you. All right, let's get into it. All right. Also, everybody that's new joining, welcome. All right. In these lives, I do this, really Monday through Friday, but Sunday, we go over the Sunday watch list. But Sunday through Friday, we're looking for the best possible setups in the market. Typically, I'm getting on at 11:30 a.m. Pacific. That's an hour and a half before the market closes, so that we can find some potential swing opportunities for the week. So make sure you tune into that tomorrow. All right, but right now I'm getting ready to go over the watch list. We got Google on the schedule. We got MU on the schedule, and we got Palantir on the schedule. All right. Like we did, but it's been raining. Okay, got you. Okay, cool, cool, cool. All right, let's get into it. Let's get into it, yo. Let's get into it. Do that. And we're gonna go here with it. All right. So first things first, we got Google, yo. Now, Google is interesting because there's a few ways to look at this, right? You could look at this as a head and shoulders setup, right? We got the we got the left shoulder right here. This area up here would be the neckline, and then over here is the right shoulder. All right. We also have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fair value gaps that need to be filled to the downside. Now, just because there's fair value gaps to the downside doesn't mean that every time that a stock threatens to go in that direction that it's going to go and fill that fair value gap, immediately. But we are starting to see some of the signs, right? Like we got the head and shoulders pattern. We got, we got a rejection off of this bearish order block. And then we had a temporary, uptrend in which it broke through. Now, there's two ways that this can go, right? As usual. There's two ways it can go. We can go and honor what's taking place on Friday, or what has taken place on Friday, which is this failed 2D. And we could be ready to start to recover and make our way back to highs. Or we could, as you see right here, I have break below, take puts. This is the neckline, yo. This is the neckline sitting right at 296.41, or you might want to say 296.50, right? That's the neckline. If we can get a break below that, then it is realistic that we may want to attempt to come down and close at least one of these fair value gaps right here. All right. Now, if we can break below this 295 area, right, I do like it for a few dollars down to 288. All right. If we can break down right here, right, 295.11, I like a move to 288. All right, 288, 289. Right, that's going to be the end of this previous candle that was below this level. All right, I like it there. Now, if it breaks through there, then the next target will be the top of the fair value gap, which is 280.33. All right, so make sure you guys put those levels down. Take note of those levels. Again, 296.41 is the break area. All right, so set that notification for yourself so that you can understand when this head and shoulders is being activated. So when you have a version of again, head and shoulders, they're not going to always look perfect, right? Like this one is kind of like a wide one. You know what I mean? Like it got one higher shoulder and longer shoulder. It's not always going to be pristine like we're taught it, right? But the concept is there, right? There's an up move, right? Finds support and then it goes higher, then it finds support and then it doesn't go as high on the second wave up. So it has all the makings of a head and shoulder, which is a very bearish pattern. We're just waiting for the confirmation below here. But if it does not break below here, we're waiting for a bullish confirmation. And really, I need to see it above like 303.50, but I would really like to see it above like 305, because that's that's where the last reversal was. So, but 303.50 would give you the bullish confirmation to then be looking for that next move up into that area. Now, the bullish move, I told you guys before, like there's always going to be a pattern within a pattern, and the price action is determining which pattern is being honored. So we do have a head and shoulders, which is bearish, but what do we also have? We also have a bear flag situation here, right? Typically, the right side of a head and shoulders is a bear flag, but what do we also have? We also have a double bottom, right? So we got the reversal, the failed 2 up right here, February 3rd, and then it came down and found a failed 2D on February 17th, and then it came up and created its own neckline, right, at this bearish order block, and then it fell back down, and then it tested again the same level. All right, so this is a double bottom pattern, and again, if we get a higher high and it starts to make its way up, we could be going to complete the double bottom pattern and form that full W. Targets would be everywhere from the center of this candle right here, so the top of this last failed 2D, and all the way up to the neckline, right? We break the neckline, then again, I don't like buying into bearish order block. But if we break the neckline, you could see it, start to move and close this, this bearish order block and make its way up to this fair value gap. So for me, I prefer the move up to the bearish order block and then the break of the bearish order block and then catch the remainder, right? Just because there's too many, unknowns that can take place in this area right here. All right, so I would never want to be in a bullish position into this area right here. All right, before it, again, we got plenty of space from here to here, but once it gets here at the neckline, then we could see, a strong push back down, or it could close and we won't be, we won't worry about it. We'll just miss the play and then we'll catch the next confirmation, above it. All right, so that's Google. Let me go to Palantir. She said, puts be moving. Doop, you already know, Wise. QTZ, what up, what up? Jamie, how you feeling? Doop, in the building. Is there a stock that competes with Google I should look out for? I mean, real talk, like in terms of long term, man, like Google really is Google, Nvidia, and Microsoft. I believe are going to be some of the biggest plays for long term. SoFi too. Best Beezy, what up, bro? Yeah. Google is a solid one. So let's get back to it. All right. All right. So we got Palantir. We need to pull up. Palantir has been performing obviously because of this whole war situation, which is another thing I want to bring your attention to, y'all. So we have CPI data coming up this week. That's going to give us more insight into inflation. We also, I think, we're the last to make a move in this, this raging war, and war is just something that you really can't predict. I'm actually going to be doing a video that I'll probably post either Monday or Tuesday, where I'm analyzing the stock market performance of the various wars that we've had over the years, just to kind of give you guys some insight to what we can expect during this war. Because from what I'm, seeing in my research, it's like the market don't quit like just because we're in war. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't quit going up just because we're in war. It's not like you have all bloody days because we're in war. Now it can coupled with something else lead to rapid drops. But it's usually not the war itself. The war is more like just like a confluence of reasons why something may go down. But there's been a lot of positive, gains and stuff like that people have made like in the midst of war. It just really just kind of depends on what the news cycle is looking like and like where these stocks are sitting at on a technical basis. It's a lot of things that go into it. But yeah, we could those videos will be dropping either Monday or Tuesday, but I think that's gonna be really good for y'all. So yeah, we got CPI data. The war is doing what it does. Palantir is a defense company that does benefit pretty significantly from this stuff, which is why you're seeing such a pump on Palantir, even when we had days where everything else was falling. All right, so when we look at Palantir on the daily, we do have a bullish engulfing, but we do have this huge wick right here. We got this huge wick right here from this, testing the gap, right? If you guys watch my video about targets, I talked about this specifically. There's a few different points in a fair value gap that we're targeting, right? So first you're targeting the bottom. So if we're in a bullish trend or we're in calls, we're targeting the bottom of a bearish fair value gap. Then we're targeting the midpoint, so 50% of that fair value gap, and then the close of it, and those will be the targets. And then if there's a gap between the next, that fair value gap and the next one, then once it breaks out of that fair value gap, then you can take entry up into the next start of that fair value gap, right? So we always, it's beginning, middle, and end is a simple way to put it, right? So if you notice, the fair value gap was partially filled, literally 50%, and look what it did, it rejected. So it was making its way up. Look, so it was, look, it's so perfect, y'all, because I'm telling you, it works out like this all the time, right? This is why it's such a a good thing to determine your entries and your targets. Again, if you haven't watched that video, go back and watch it because it's going to give you so much insight on how to get the hell out of a trade instead of staying too long for no reason, right? Trying to get to every single target in one go is very rare that when a stock makes a move that it gets to that target, and I'm sorry, that it gets to all three targets in a single day, right? It's usually going to get to one and then it's going to do some little dance. It might consolidate, it might pull back. That's why you take majority of your profits off. So if you look here, you see this day, which was Thursday, that we got the doji. Look, it came to the beginning of the fair value gap right here. See? And then it rejected. Next day, it came and it went beyond. And then where did it reject? 50% of the fair value gap. I'm not just pulling this stuff out of my ass, y'all. This is like exactly how targets are set because this is how the stock market moves. So it's like to avoid headache, it's like you get your pump and then you get out at one of these levels, majority being the first target all the time. Get in that habit of like, if you have multiple contracts, majority comes out first target. You leave some on for second target. Depending on how many you have, it might be like, say you got 10 contracts, it might be like 7 come off first target. Then you take off 2 at target 2, then you take off 1 at target 3, right? And you can always put on like trailing stops and stuff like that to minimize risk exposure. All right. So again, this right here rejected right in the middle of the fair value gap. So what I'm looking to see on Palantir is a break above that. So a break above 161.30. If it can break above that 50% of the fair value gap, then it could go and close the gap up to about 165. Okay, so that would be really cool on an intraday trade. As you can see, it's nothing for Palantir to go and do $4 or $5 on a day. All right, that's pretty standard once it gets to moving. So again, if we can break above this level, that'd be a nice intraday trade, right? And again, we could just play it level to level, like we know how to. The end of a fair value gap. Okay, this fair value gap is pretty close to this one, so I would probably wait for it to break above 167 to then play it to the next one, all on an intraday basis. All right. Also, if we break above this 161.30, you could also just swing it out about 2 to 4 weeks, just knowing that there will be some pullbacks, and you could target this bearish order block right here, which is also the top of that that third fair value gap. Okay, so it's a lot of different ways to approach this. Again, we could also be in a scenario where we're coming back down to fill these bullish fair value gaps that were formed in the process of creating this neckline for this double bottom pattern that we're in the midst of. Okay, so when we look at all of this right here, this is one side, then we got our wave up. It's rejecting right here. If we come down tomorrow and continue, this could be the start of the formation of a double bottom. It may be one touch, it may be a consolidation down here, but this is what could be setting up in the long term or medium term, I would say, a few weeks. All right, so we're going to watch for this. A break of this, like I said, would be a go for calls. But if we break down, or maybe we form some sort of like bearish harami right here, it may be wanting to come and clean these two fair value gaps up real quick, and then start to test lower. All right. Any scenario that presents itself, we'll be prepared for. We're not taking any hasty trades. We're only going to get in the stuff that is presenting what we talked about. All right, so make sure y'all take note of those levels. Write it down, set the alerts. Whatever you have to do. All right. Last but not least, on my 3 stocks for the watch list is MU. MU is a beast. It's been pumping forever. We was talking about this way below $100 or below $100. I was screaming MU to the top of my lungs, and it's had a run. It went as high as 455. Right, that was in late January, and then it fell pretty substantially, pulled back, and look at where it stopped. Again, I want to always show y'all where things stop at and change directions because it's consistent and predictable. It stopped at the top of a fair value gap, the top of a bullish fair value gap. It pulled down, So if you caught this bearish engulfing right here, this 3 down pattern, and you swung it, you were able to take this down into the bullish order block, but it went all the way to this fair value gap, which is exactly how we set our targets. So if we would have took this, that's where a target would have been. All right. Then it came up, short term and created a little bit of a, bullish trend. Then it broke below it, right? And then again, once again, it came down and retested that same level. So with that being said, we've now created a double bottom, right? We got this W pattern right here. The only thing that's left is the right side. What I would like to see is some sort of bullish confirmation tomorrow, and then I'll be looking to target the bottom of this fair value gap to about 417 on a swing. All right, probably 2 to 4 weeks. We'll see what the price action is looking like, but this one tends to move pretty fast, y'all. Like you see, this is a $26 move, just the other day. All right, and these candles are pretty substantial. So when MU finds some sort of support, or it approaches resistance, it tends to react pretty strongly. So this could be something that we make a nice amount of money in, like, quickly. All right, so I really like MU. Again, I'm going to be looking for a confirmation tomorrow. Everything is going to depend on how it opens, and of course how it closes when it comes to swings. All right, so that's what I got for the week. Certified bangers, of course, and y'all let me know what y'all got, man. You already know, wise. Hit that, y'all hit that like button, man. Look, if you come in here, it's going to be something that's going to help you out. Only thing I ever ask is just to hit that like button. That's it. You don't got to gatekeep that. That's what I'm saying. The like want to be set free, straight up and down. 2600. What up, man? Yeah, we just went over the three stocks that I'm looking at for the week. So we went over the watch list. So you missed. I'm not sure exactly when you got in here, but you pretty much missed that all of that. I'm gonna be real with you. Just go back and watch the video. All right. Doop. Yeah, hit that like button. All right. It says earnings in 12 days for MU. Yeah. So we that could also be something that helps with the push to the upside. So yeah, I like it. I like it. I like it a lot. All right, y'all let me know what y'all want to see. Just shoot me. You said FJet. Okay, let's see. Let's see what FJet looking like. FJet. How y'all been feeling? How y'all been doing during this Mercury retrograde in eclipse? Y'all been feeling a little off. Y'all been feeling a little sluggish, a little tired, a little like how y'all been doing? Okay, so FJet made its way to the top of this fair value gap and it rejected. Yep. So anybody that took this because of this little bullish harami right here, even though it was in a little bit of a consolidation, it formed a bullish harami, and they took that. They were probably targeting fair value gap, right? It went to the top, came back to the bottom. It's always going to be the same target show. It's like clockwork. All right, a lot of people just don't understand where to target. I think it looks cool right now. It's rejected, pretty substantially. Just a lot of people taking profits. What I would like to see is it break above this fair value gap at about 883. That'll be a full close above it, and then I'd be interested in swinging it up to the up to about 1080. So just catching that wave from about 880 to about 1080, about a $2 move, which is pretty substantial on this. It's like 30% on a stock this size, and then above the order block would be another cool opportunity to let it run a little bit more. So yeah, if this could close above the fair value gap at like 880, 888, it's a clean ride for a couple bucks. So I like that. That's definitely something to keep on your radar. Like, you should be looking at this throughout the week to see what the price action is like. But if it can clear out this fair value gap, the next probable place for it to reverse would be, up here at 1080. So that is a nice move for a stock this size. So that could be really good. Let's see what else they got going on. I don't see anything about like earnings coming up soon or nothing like that. I don't know much about this company. Damn, they look like they bleeding in their financials. Let me look at the financials real quick. Oh yeah, mm, damn, yeah, they don't have like the greatest trend. Let me see something. Mm-hmm. I don't know. This company don't look too hot to me. But again, I'm just looking at this quickly on the annual. Look at the cash flow. Are they not reporting? What's going on? They might not even be at the size where. Yeah, I don't know about this one. I don't. I just don't like the. Oh shit! What did I do? I just don't like the. Yeah, I'm not a fan of. I'm not a huge fan of their financials, but again, I don't know a ton about the company. But just from a pure technical perspective, that's what I would look for. You know what I'm saying? Let me go. Let's see. Trees, what up? How you feeling? You said Hems took off overnight. You said look at SoFi. These joints pumping. Hold up. Everything like it's slightly down. Let's see. Yeah, SoFi is down after hours. I look. I go look at it. Um. Okay. Let me go look at Hems real quick. Oh yeah. Hold on. So are they? Let me see where Hems is, cause y'all know what we did with Hems. What we do with Hems? What we do with Hems? We already y'all already know what we did with them. Let me see what Hems is looking like, and if it even. Damn! Hold up. Time out. Hold on, y'all. Hems is up 40% overnight. Hold on. Oh my goodness. Yo, him. Ooh, if you was in Hems, you, and you know what's crazy? Let me look at Hems, because we got the trend line drawn, but we've been waiting for it to. Where is it saying it's at? So it's 60. It's at 22. So I'm gonna draw a line. I'm gonna show y'all where Hems is at right now. So Hems is right here. Hems is right here. So with that being said, yeah, that's a huge gap up. It's outside of this trend line. All we got to do is wait for it to retest. It could, it could gap and go, right? It could continue to go, but you don't want to chase. Like I say it in all my videos. So what we want to wait for is it to come back and retest, um, the trend line. So maybe I don't know. Maybe it'll come back to like 19. If it, let's see if so the candlestick for tomorrow will be sitting right here. So if it retested tomorrow, it would have to hit at about 1910. So if we could get a pullback to about 1910 and a bounce off of that, then I'd be interested in taking it. But you see these you can't predict these type of moves. That even when you look at this right here, like there, yes, it was a failed 2D, but I'm willing to bet you anybody that took this failed 2D could not have guessed that it was going to jump 40%. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just that's you know there's I don't even know what happened. What anybody know what happened with him? Like what caused that jump? I got you 2600. No, this is probably not your interest, but a quick look at XRP. Yeah. Now I'm into the crypto. I'll look at XRP and ETH. Doing all right. Working on your discipline. There we go, Jamie. Oracle. Okay, now okay. I got y'all. Um, no, but the volume over the last week has been over average. Yeah, I mean, I think SoFi is probably. You talking about SoFi? What you talking about, Best B or Hems? Uh, Miss Fruitful, how you feeling? Good to see you. Yeah, it blew past that order block, so we gonna have to see. But I'm definitely gonna have my eyes on Hems. I'm definitely gonna have my eyes on Hems. Uh, yeah, Hems on that blue. Hey, Hems is on Hems. Straight up, they taking their own self. He's like, yeah, the volume on SoFi on the day has been well, okay. Yeah, I think SoFi gonna have its time too very soon. I think we're gonna see a nice little blast off on that. Joy, how you feeling over there, Joy? Good to see you. Good to see you. She said Lily. All right, DTLR. Nine hands. I know, right, Tiffy? Yeah, y'all hilarious in this joint, man. All right, they partner with NBO. Oh, okay. They have some. Okay, that makes sense. All right. Yeah, you can't predict those things. Exactly. They think. Okay. Wow. Yeah, 40%, man. Oh my. Could you imagine being in those swings? You be up like I don't know, maybe like 10,000, 10,000%, something like that. Some sort of thousands of percent. It wouldn't even be in the hundreds. It wouldn't even be in the hundreds. All right, y'all sent me a lot of stuff, so let me go back and start from the top with the analysis. So all right, we looked at hymns. RTX and now. All right. Yeah, RTX could pump. Got a nice inside candle coming off of this three down. Um, you know, could definitely be a reversal. We'll see. I like to see it above highs. You know, again, intraday is a different story, but just from a swing perspective, I would just like to see it break highs, and then I'd be very interested in it. Right? Came and filled this gap right here, reverse, long wick, um, and then we got a bullish close um, on Friday. So yeah, this could possibly be going up pretty nicely, but I would like to see it clear highs before I take any sort of consideration on it. All right, but not bad. Let's see. Damn, now I look good. Hell yeah. This might be one of them ones to take in the earlier part of the day tomorrow. I don't. All right, so as I'm looking at this, I don't know. Oh yeah, it was off the double bottom too. Off the oh yeah, it has all the it has the yeah. This looks good, and it hasn't finished this fair value gap. Yeah, this could be like an early morning trade right here. Take that to 129. That's right in the thick of the gap. If it can push above, like if I see it break through like 125.50, I would enter that. Or if it comes back down and retests the fair value gap at 120, I would like that too. But yeah, this look good. All these fair value gaps up here, this huge one right here that is already starting to close in on. It double bottomed off the order block. Yeah, that's solid, solid. So yeah, 125.50 is what I'll be watching for intraday entries. Y'all just take note of that. All right, CDW on the weekly time frame. Let me see what you're talking about. CDW on the weekly time frame. Let's see. Yeah, that looks good. Solid, solid inside candle. Um, you know, holding the same level on the weekly. We'll just have to see how it shapes up. If it can take out previous weeks, that'll be a good entry for some sort of swing, right? But we got to get the confirmation above previous week highs on the daily. So if on the daily we can close above, let's say 127.50, right? Say 49, but 127.50, then yeah, that's a good sign for this week recovering at least half of this this candle right here. All right, so yeah, that's a solid one. That's a solid one. I like that. Again, 127.50 would be the level that I'd be watching for a break of for possible entries. All right, so solid one on that one. Shout out to Sam for that one. All right, let's see. What else we got? Katie, you said you got here late. You got to rewatch. Yeah. Definitely go back and watch. We talked about Google, Palantir, and MU. All pretty solid setups. All right, we got KTOS. Let's see. KTOS sounds like a club or something. 3 inside candle. Yeah, this is kind of like this could be the makings of of a of a head and shoulders pattern, right? We got the left shoulder in, we got the head in. Um, I would just be watching this. This could possibly bounce and go up to these fair value gaps right here. So I would just like watch this. I'm not seeing anything that's clear just yet on this. But once it gets up around this area, or we get like some sort of like bullish confirmation tomorrow, like you could play this up into this fair value gap. But I'd be very cautious in this area because this would be the area that the right shoulder could be forming, and we could be seeing this come down on a major level. I get it. It's in the defense space, so that's important for what's going on right now. But just like anything, y'all, like when once everything has there's a or economic term called diminishing returns, right? It's when it's almost like the way that you could think of it is like just think of your favorite food or your favorite snack. If you have it every blue moon, it's like, man, that shit good. That's right, fire. You know what I'm saying? Let me flip back over to y'all. If you have it every blue moon, it's like, man, that's you know what I mean. Just think of your favorite delicacy, right? If you were to eat it every day, it reaches a point of diminishing returns, which means that the goodness or the benefit that it's providing over time, it starts to fade because of you becoming used to it, right? So it's not giving you that same dopamine hit that you once would get. This is the reason that people get addicted to drugs, because they're chasing that same first hit, but they don't realize that every time that they use it and chase it, it does less for them, which is why they go into depression and flatline, because it's like I'm chasing this first high, I'm getting high, but I'm never getting that same one that I got, and that's what I'm searching for. So it's the same thing with like war, right? Like I said earlier in the video, in war, it doesn't mean that the market's not going to do well. So even with the defense stocks like Palantir and the one we're just looking at, I think it's called Kratos. It's like there's there's still a possibility that it starts to like go down because the whole time that we're in war doesn't mean that those defense and oil companies are gonna pump the entire time, right? It's almost like institutions and investors be like, all right, I get it. It's like, yeah, it's gonna be a shortage of oil, whatever. We're gonna buy it up. It's like, all right, I get it. And a lot of times, stuff gets priced into the market, meaning that the money has already been made from the pump. So it's no pun intended. Like when an oil company pumps, it already people have already made their money, and now it's coming back down to size, no matter like what's going on. It's like it can't just go high forever, right? So you reach a point where something is just like it's just like okay. So I say all that to say that Kratos, we could see it coming down, even though it's a defense stock, right? Um, Again, which like I said, if it does come up here, we could see a major rejection from here and then a flatline. And since it's pumped so much, right, that fall might be drastic, especially if we get some sort of like ceasefire, which we've seen happen each time that like there's been some sort of like little miniature war or a threat of a war or whatever. So if that news hits sometime in the next couple of weeks, while it's around this area, you could see that fall straight through the neckline and come down to pretty rapidly back down to size, because you just got to look at. You also got to remember, like, where were things before these wars broke out? Like, what was their normal trading range? Their normal trading range is down here. Look at it. they this is what they normally do. This is, you see what I'm saying? So it doesn't feel like it's far fetched for after we kind of get used to what's going on, that we hit some sort of like rejection level, and then we fall all the way down. All right. Again, as y'all coming in here, man, hit that like button for your boy one time. Doop. That's all I need. All right. I'm never gonna gatekeep any sort of levels or information. All I need you to do is hit that like button for me. All right. Also, I think this is a good time to go ahead and do my disclaimer. Right. This is for entertainment purposes only. I am not a financial advisor by any means. So there's no way that I could be giving you financial advice. Anything that you see in this video is purely entertainment. All right, that's all. I don't know what I'm talking about. All right, so if you decide to take a trade, make sure that you're doing it with your own brain. Make sure you're doing it from research that you've done, due diligence that you have done, and you're not just taking it because this guy with locks on the internet is saying take it. All right, I just want y'all to keep that in mind. All right, what y'all talking about in here? Let's see. You said you were so far loose till 20. Yeah, you up 40. Yeah, you gonna be solid. Like them SoFi joints they're gonna be solid for sure. One of those bangers is coming. Yeah, no, for sure. Wise. MRK fell 2D and bounced off the trend line. Ooh, for intraday. Yeah, we could check that out. MRK again, like that usually does well if tech is in a rotation. So if we'll see how things kind of like start to pan out next week. But I will look at MRK. I'm telling you. Listen, we wait for setups. That's it. We don't gotta go like hunting. Some people be like, let's go hunting and stuff like that. It's like, nah, I guess you can call it hunting, but I think the best hunters are not like going and trying to find whatever it is. They're just waiting for it to come to them. They know where to be, and they just wait for it to come to them. You said Reddit is in a bear flag. DLTR. Good stuff as always. Can you look at Amazon and Nvidia? Yep, we can look at those. All right. Hey Marcel, how do you draw your trend lines? Is it from Is it from W highs or just multiple? When you say W highs, what do you mean? Like the video for sure. Thank you again. No, for sure. Yeah, no. So I try to answer. I'm not sure exactly what you mean about W highs, but a trend line is just typically is simply 2 points, right? A line period is 2 points. And never get confused, right? I never want to. I'm not the person that be trying to like. I know sometimes like things that I say might come off a little like I don't know. Maybe I could have used a more simple term or something like that, but it's just like I have I have the way that I like process and stuff like that. So if something might seem a little bit complicated, I want you to always remember it's not that complicated, right? So a trend line is a line. Anything that you put in front of a line, it's still a line. So you can never get away from the definition of a line. A line is just 2 points connecting. So what that means on a chart is that you just have to find 2 points and connect them. This is why there can be multiple trends happening at one time. It's just going to be on different time frames and trajectories. So, for example, I'll draw a trend line right now. I'll grab this right here, and we can come from the. I usually like if I'm doing like a long term trend, I like to find like the most recent high, and then you know connect that to to a point on the chart that is containing the rest of that trend, right? So I would take it from here, and this would be the I'll take it from here, and this would be the first point that I would connect it to. You see that? So I'm taking it from this reversal right here at the 3, and I'm connecting it right there with that point right there. So that's 2 points. Once you get 2 points, all you got to do is go straight. All you got to do is just keep stretching it out. As long as 2 points connect, that's all that matters. And I can take this all the way down to this order block, right? So we got 2 points connected, and and it's an art. So sometimes we try to keep, everything like I said, within it, but it's really just 2 points. So even if it's not exactly touching that, it's touching this one right here. So that's 2 points. That's all you gotta do. A line is just two points connected. That's it. Real simple. It doesn't have to be any more complicated than that. And you'll find that when you do that, you see that it's usually respected, right? And then when something, breaks outside of it, that's when there's a breach of a trend line, possibly a change of direction. So when it breaks out, that's the first signal that is changing directions. And then when you get a higher high, higher low, if we're talking about to the upside, then that's the confirmation. And then you just flip that for the downside. So if it's a downtrend and then it breaks out of it, if it's an uptrend of it and it breaks out of it to the downside, you just be looking for a lower low and a lower high on that second candle outside of the breach of that trend line. All right, I hope that makes sense. All right, again, as y'all come in here, man, y'all hit that like button for me, man. It really helps the channel out. It really helps this get to the people that need to see it, that are yearning for this information and tired of hemorrhaging money to people that are just trying to get them to hemorrhage more money. All right, we do this Sunday through Friday for the free ski, and it's good information that you're not gonna get for free in many places. All right. And what up? You said evening. I got in late, but I'm locked in on the rewind. Oh, for sure. Always a pleasure getting laced up with this. Hey, appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Glad you're in here. Oh, weak highs. Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's so weak highs. It all depends on what type of move you're looking for. Close 9 JP, or I'm guessing it's just close JP or close 9. I'm not really sure how to say that, but when you're drawing the trend line, it just depends on what type of move you're looking for. If you're looking for a bigger swing in terms of like a reversal, you can put the trend for a longer period of time. But a downtrend starts when the uptrend ends. So just keep that in mind. Whenever an uptrend ends, it could be on a weekly time frame, daily time frame, monthly time frame. Whenever an uptrend ends and it starts to go down, that is the start of a downtrend. So you take it from the start of the downtrend, right? That highest point before it failed, and then you take that and you drag that and connect it with 2 points, and you just keep stretching that line as long as you can stretch it, right? But make sure that 2 points are connected, because that's the only way that you can get a line. If you draw from 1 point and you just put a random drawing straight, because it's not considered a line yet until it's 2 points. Like a line has to go somewhere, right? So if it's not connecting from that high point to something else and beyond, it's not a line. It's just a sketch or a drawing. It's random. You know what I'm saying? So highest point before reversing, and then take that all the way down as far as you can, connecting 2 points. And typically, an order block would be a great place to stop, to cut it off, because that's where you're going to be looking for it to come to. You'll notice that they're there for this, for the reason of institutions thinking that that's a good price. So the highest point down to the order block is a great distance to draw it. But you have to remember that 2 points need to be connected. You can't just draw the line straight to the order block. You got to draw it, connect it with another point, and then you can stretch that all the way down to the order block. All right? Exactly. I'm always going to, like, listen, I promise y'all, like, a lot of people be trying to make stuff complicated. The complicated part about trading is getting to a point where you accept how simple it is, right? The only thing that's complicated in trading are the people that are trading. There are very predictable targets. There are very predictable entries, and nothing works 100% of the time, but there are things that work like 80 and 90% of the time. And you can go back and trace this, right? So you just simply enter things that, that work out 80 or, 75, 80, 90% of the time, and leave everything else alone, right? Draw your trend lines, only take entries at order blocks, only take profit at fair value gaps, right? Only enter and exit at places where decisions are made. Decisions are made at order blocks. Decisions are made at fair value gaps. Decisions are made at trend lines. Real simple. All right? I don't ever want y'all to complicate this thing. You said JP is cool. I asked because you always say the trend line is your... Yeah, no, the trend line is the trend line, man. It's your friend because it's telling you what's going. It's like it's looking out for you. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you could literally draw a long-term trend line. We did this with Netflix and we banked on it, right? I was walking y'all through the Netflix for, like, I think, what was it? Anybody remember? We were talking about Netflix for like 3 weeks before it finally, did what it was supposed to do. But we never entered. We never entered. That whole 3 weeks, we were just like, yeah, Netflix look kind of like good. It's starting to set up. Yeah. And then it finally broke, and we was like, all right, that thing we've been talking about, let's do it. And everybody that took that, made 100% plus. So, yeah, that's why I call it the friend line. It's just like it's going to look out for your best interest. It's telling you the points in time when direction is changing. So whenever direction changes in the market, it usually has to go and make up for that distance that it failed, right? Or that it pumped to. It happens in both directions. So when something crosses over a trend line, especially after an extended period, you've just walked into a pretty good opportunity. All right, so that's why it's important to keep them on. Keep them on all time frames, because they still work on the shorter time frames too. But on the longer time frame, there's just way more money to gain, because you're looking for, like, even if you just get a 3-day back-to-back move off a breakout of a trend line, 3 days back-to-back green is big money. I don't know if y'all understand it. The candlestick movements on a daily and the 5-minute and the hourly are not the same. 3 green candles on the daily could mean 3 $5 moves. That could be $15. You got a 50% delta. Do the math. You see what I'm saying? This is why I stay on a daily, because it makes the move just like any other time frame. But like I said, when it gets that breakout, it's going for a longer period of time, which means that it's going to make a much bigger move, allowing me to make way more money. All right. Let's get back to it. Brittany, how you feeling? Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. How was your weekend? All right. Let's make sure we catching up. Um, all right. DLTR. Again, I know we talked pretty extensively about this, y'all, but like I said, what I'll be waiting for this is not necessarily trying to play it, um, to the upside just yet. If we can break out of this trend line that I just drew right here, then maybe we get a little play up into this fair value gap. But I'm not too fond of trying to take this to the upside because of this head and shoulders that is forming, and because at any given time, like, war could just be like, all right, it's over. All right, we surrender, peace treaty, ceasefire, whatever, completely ends it, right? So again, I would just kind of be cautious on stocks that are having like really strong moments because of the time that we're in right now. All right, so DLTR. When I see that, I'm thinking about DTLR, the Dollar Tree. Okay. Yeah, it's rejecting. I mean, bouncing off a fair value gap. See, it came down. So I want y'all to see. This is the end of the fair value gap right here. Sometimes you may not be able to read the overlap, but this full thing is a bullish order block, but the fair value gap stops right here. All right, so it looks like it came down and tried to test the bottom of that fair value gap, and it bounced a little bit. There's another fair value gap that starts at the very end of the order block. So, and the way that I notice again is because like you can just see it in a 3 candle sequence. So this will be candle 1, candle 2, candle 3, and this little fair value gap right here is the distance between these 2 wicks, the wick of 1 and 3. All right, so we could see this if we could see this break through, then it could come down to this fair value gap. But again, y'all know me. I don't really love taking puts inside of a fair value gap. I mean, inside of a bullish order block, even if there are some fair value gaps in there. I just let the people that like to trade like that, I let them have their time to shine. You know what I'm saying? But this could be some sort of a bounce. Like we could get like a little bullish harami, like a open up inside here with an inside candle and shoot up to this bearish order block. That could be a possibility because it does like this support level right here, the support area. It does seem to be liking that. So I would wait for some sort of bullish signal, and then possibly maybe on Tuesday play it intraday to the upside. We just gotta wait for this. But as it stands right now, it doesn't have like an obvious setup. Again, it is in an order block, so it would be a good time for it to bounce. But we need a little bit more data. So we need another day or two in the market to really get clear on what this stock wants to do for us to take a swing in it. All right. So this is solid. Something I'll be interested in watching during the week. But as it stands right now, I don't really see anything that's like I got to take this. Okay. I'll also do this and draw a trend line on it just to kind of get an idea of its trajectory. All right. So we got that. Man, I love trend lines. All right. Let's see what else I got for you. Again, as y'all come in here, man, y'all hit that like button. Don't be stingy. All right, don't be stingy. All right, don't act like you ain't get some game in this live or any other lives. Doop! Hit that like button for me. That's it. All right. He said I was saying wow to IWM and SPY gapping Oh, they gap down overnight. Hmm, that may not be good for a lot of things. You said Google dropped to 290. Ugh. We gonna have to see 2600. Um, yeah, they playing a lot of games, and we're in a couple of swings. So if the whole market is being dropped, and it's below certain certain levels, then we may have to get out of certain trades. It's just what it is. Um, and this may even be like a signal to pump the brakes on on certain swings. So we'll see. Like, yeah, market down bad. Yeah. So we'll see. That's the thing about like I said, everybody's bracing for CPI. So when we get more inflation data, then you could see it. But like I put on my watch list, if you're in the Prosperity Collective, like it should be a volatile week. So it being down doesn't mean that they ain't gonna come back up, but we will be probably having to make a decision about our trades because we have a lot of stuff that's out till Friday. So if we find ourselves below structure, then we may just have to say, okay, I'll take this, 30% loss, 20% loss on this swing instead of trying to wait the full week for it to recover. And the only reason I say that is because sometimes, like I said, if something breaks your structure, it could get way uglier before it gets better, and you could find yourself losing way more money than necessary. We can't predict the rug pull, y'all. We can't predict when the market is just going to go flat or when it's going to like break technicals. But when it does do that, we do got to listen. You know what I mean? Because again, you know, I'm taking trades with y'all. Like Nvidia, like all these things are looking like good setups. If they don't open, or at least in the earlier part of tomorrow, like shape up in some sort of way, then we'll have to make a decision. You said weekend was really good. How was your? My weekend was good, Britt. I appreciate you for asking. It was good. Exercise a little bit, relax a little bit, caught up with some people. So it was solid. I appreciate it. Um, let's see. You said Walmart or WM or Waste Management. Let's see. Yeah, Waste Management is in a. It had a 3-2, so it broke above previous highs. It looks like it rejected a little bit. We'll see. We'll see how it falls. Um, it could possibly get some sort of bearish confirmation tomorrow and then retrace this three candle. We just gotta wait and see. It's not obvious just yet though. It's just one thing, just the candlestick that's starting to like reject a little bit. But there's nothing in addition that's saying that this wants to this wants to fall. So we just gotta wait for a little bit more confirmation. Just like a lot of stuff. But again, y'all, I'm not looking at Robinhood right now, but y'all are telling me that a lot of this stuff is down. So matter of fact, let me give it a look. Let me just give it a look. Oh my God, Nvidia dropped 2.5%. Yeah, this is a market wide. Yeah. Oh shit, and yeah, Microsoft is down 2.5%. Yeah, this is a rug pull. This is a dump. There's yeah. This, like I said, in the morning, there's definitely going to have to be some decisions made about pretty much everything that we may be in, because this is a market wide drop. Yeah, everything is down 2.5%. It is, it doesn't guarantee that the market's going to open like that tomorrow, but the after hours is usually a pretty strong indication of of what the market will look like. We'll see in the pre market tomorrow because I've seen things be down like this. I've seen the market look like this, overnight and then open up, bullish. So, um, and that'll let us know if we're going into a volatile week if we see some sort of recovery in the morning. So, um, yeah, a lot of this stuff that I'm going to be showing you guys on technicals might be blown up, just based off of what's happening in the overnight market right now. So, uh, yeah, we're gonna see. It's gonna be an interesting week. It's gonna be an interesting week. Yeah, it gets crazy at times, Billy. It gets crazy at times. Um, so yeah, I think that's pretty much everything that y'all asked for. But and like I said, it's really not a with markets sinking like this. It might be a moot point to even go continue going over particular levels. Um, Again, I'm really curious to see how this opens. I'm looking at some other ones right now. Yeah, everything is 2.5% down. that's an interesting. That's an interesting thing. Hold on. Like I said, usually when you see something, when you see like the drop on something that's pretty exact, that typically means that it's short lived. Remember how we had all those failed 2Ds, and I was like, I don't know about this one. This could be the same thing, but it could be working in our favor this time. So, nothing to panic about. We'll wait till the morning. We'll see like how things open. But there will be a decision made. So make sure that you're in the live on voice. If you got something going on, please try to make sure that you are in there. I'll try to get it typed up, and put and update whatever channels need to be updated. But we'll definitely be going over exactly what needs to happen in any swing or trade that we may be in. All right, but it's looking a little ugly. I ain't gonna lie, it's looking a little ugly. Um, like I said, across the market. Um, SoFi, yes, damn, SoFi down almost 6%. Um, yeah, everything is down. Exxon, Exxon is up. Has there been another? Has there been like another attack? Does anybody know? Was there another like attack or aggressive move taking place? Yeah, it's a possibility, Billy. Like I said, we just got to see, how it works. Like I wish I had a crystal ball and I could tell people like, yo, this is exactly what's going to happen. I swear I do, and I would if I could. But we got to just wait and see. Japan, South Korea stocks tumble. Oil tops 100 amid a broader Asia market rout. Okay. Yeah, we tend to follow the Asian market. Yeah, yeah, we'll see. This is all part of the game, y'all. It makes it interesting. It makes it fun. It also increases your knowledge base, and you start to see things in a different way. So nothing to trip about. Again, whatever whatever is going to happen, we're already in certain positions. So yeah, it would be great if there was a bounce or recovery in the earlier part of the day. Again, if it's not, Monday is a good time to be like, you know what, I'll cut my losses instead of trying to, you know, force something that's not there. Because as I'm looking at these 2.5s, matter of fact, let me just give an example. Nvidia, for instance, right? So if Nvidia, let's just say nothing changes and it opens up 2.5%. Let's go look at what Nvidia 2.5% down would be. That'd be 173.84. All right. So if we go to Nvidia and we go to 173.84, 173.84, 173.84 put it like around. It ain't trying to let me be great. But we'll just say we'll just put it a little bit under. So this green line right here is what it would look like. Okay, so it seems like it's a lot. It's like, damn, that's a gap down. It's not really a gap down. You see what I'm saying? So if this line right here, where Nvidia is right now, it's actually okay. So 84. It's actually a little higher than this. You know, it's really about like. It ain't trying to let me go to it, but let's let's say it's about right here. All right. When you look at that, right, that is a prime example of like what could be like a delayed reaction, right? Something right there could still go, could still reverse because what we could get is like a little wick reversal or some sort of early bounce. Or in the morning, it might only be down like 2%. It might be sitting right at the exact level that was the low of Friday. It might open at 175. You know what I'm saying? Like that, it'll still be down from where it closed, but the structure is still there, right? It's still holding this structure here, right? It's still holding this structure of down here. All these wicks in this area. So it hasn't broken the structure of it potentially being able to go up. Now, if it decided that it wanted to come down to like 169, oh yeah, that could be trouble. Even 171 could kind of be trouble. So this is why we got to just wait and see, like what tomorrow presents. Um, Again, I've seen several scenarios where coming into the week it looked like that, and then the next morning it was like it never happened. So we'll see. Let's do another one. It's another one that we were in. Microsoft. I mean, and the beautiful thing about like Microsoft and Amazon is like we already took majority of profits. So I'm in a runner on Microsoft and Amazon. So I'm not really I'm not really too concerned about it. But I also don't know if everybody like I know a lot of people did take profits with me in the group. This is why it's important to be on the calls. But just considering that you didn't and you had one contract or something like that, Microsoft is at 399.23. So let's look at that. Microsoft would be at 399.23. So yeah, y'all like look, if it's right here, 399, right? This is where Microsoft will be opening up at. That's not that's not a bad thing necessarily. It's still holding the structure, right? So let me just do this. I'm gonna connect these 2 points to give an idea of like what that structure is, right? So these two I connected 2 points going in the uptrend, right? We will be opening right around here if all things are equal, like nothing changes. And look where that happens to be. That happens to be right at the edge of a trend line. So we just got to see. You know what I mean? Like we got to see. It could get really good. Like we could see it pump crazy. But if it breaks below 382, then that would kind of ruin it. That would kind of ruin it for me. I mean, really, even 382 would be a large drawdown, but I would say about 390. So previous candle low. If it broke below that, then I'd be like, I don't know. But if it holds this trend line and starts bouncing, I may add. All right. So just to be clear on that. But again, I'll walk you guys through, how I decide to do that tomorrow. All right. You said oil strike. Okay, yeah, I did see that the oil strike. They struck the oil rig in Iran. Yeah, so I know we were the last one to take a shot. Um, Anybody on Truth Social, he gives his tips on there. No, 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 I'm not on that. Um, I ran, yeah. So we'll see how things work out with this war. It's always tricky with stuff like this. Um, so again, I will be kind of like making a call, and we'll also talk about this in the lives during the week. Like it may just be an environment where we kind of like chill off of swings for a little bit, and we may need to shift the conversation, um, you know, on our lives, just depending on like how things start to shape up. But I'll make that call. I'll make that call this week. All right, but it's been a solid live. I think we do have some pretty good opportunities tomorrow. Again, we just have to wait and see how things pan out. But if things continue to look, you know, unpredictable, volatile, then you know what we'll do. We'll just sit on the sidelines and just observe. We don't have to trade. That's the beautiful thing about all of this. Like we don't have to take additional trades. We don't have to, enter anything hastily. We can really just take our time. All right. That's all I got for you guys today. Let me flip back to y'all real quick. I appreciate all y'all, pulling up on a Sunday. I know y'all lost an hour of sleep today with the time going forward and all that. I know I woke up like, hold up, y'all, what? Because there's one thing I need to understand about me, y'all. And my ex didn't really love this. She didn't love this about me, but I'm an early bird, right? I'm up and I'm doing shit. You know what I mean? So like uh, 5 a.m. I'm usually up, right? If I find myself in the bed at like 6:30, maybe even if I sleep to 7, I feel like damn, I done slept in. Like I feel like I slept in. I woke up this morning at 8:30. 8:30. I know that might not sound that crazy to some people, but 8:30 to me is probably like what most people's like sleeping into like 11 or noon or whatever it is. Like I slept into 8:30, and I found out I'm like, oh, the time went up. So I still slept in a little bit, but I'm like, damn, 8:30 was crazy. So yeah, how about y'all though? Where my early birds at? What time y'all wake up in the morning? Nah, for sure, JP. I appreciate you too, Natalie. I appreciate that. Thank you, Joy. I appreciate you. What time y'all be getting up in the morning? Where my early birds at? My early risers. You say you're an early riser. Natalie is an early. Nice. What time you get up, Natalie? Best B said I'm up like 4:35. Yeah, 4:30. Yeah. Oh, see y'all just like me. There we go. Y'all all we on the same wave. Yep, 6 a.m. Yeah, I be up, man. And I love a day when I can get to bed early too. Like if I can get to bed at like 9, you know what I mean? Or yeah, if I can get to bed at like 9, I feel like yes, it's gonna be a good day. Because they're up at 4 a.m. for the gym. Nice, JP. 7:30 for me. There we go, Jamie. You what time you go to bed, Jamie? Like you like are you more of a night person? I mean 7:30 is still early. But I'm curious if you like go to bed a little earlier or later. Now they said 5 a.m. Yeah. So yeah, I had a mentor one time who gets up. He still to this day gets up at 3 a.m. And I just was like, yo, you know I'm an early bird, but I'm like 3 a.m. is just that sounds like I would hate my life. But it's some people that do it consistently at 4:30. Yeah, 4:30 is yeah. That's a good time too. That's a good time. You know, anytime like when it's nobody, like you get up and it's not a whole lot of, you know, people up or things that you got to like preoccupy yourself with, then you know what I'm saying, you can get a lot, you can get a lot done, or not even really get done. Because I don't even like mornings to be all about productivity. But you just get to have some time with yourself. You know what I mean, and just be, and you know, maybe catch a sunrise, and you know, just do what you need to do. Right, that routine. Um, that's been like super important for me as I've been just like kind of like moving around quite a bit, which I actually have a whole video about this. I'm gonna share some. Um, but that works for me. Like I need a routine. I need something that like keeps me grounded and at home. You know what I mean? Um, so yeah, I'm gonna let y'all go though, man. Enjoy the rest of y'all Sunday. It's been beautiful seeing y'all, catching up with y'all, all that good stuff. Hopefully, this information makes this week a little bit easier. We're gonna see what they got for us this week. Whatever they got, we're gonna adjust to it. We're gonna make sure that we do what we got to do to be successful in the market this week. All right, y'all go enjoy the rest of y'all evening, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Remember, invest smart so that you can live free. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.